You're listening to Force Majeure, an actual play Star Wars podcast. My name is Adam, and I'm your host, and also the GM for Episode 2 of the Coldfire Chronicles. We'd just like to say, on behalf of the podcast, thank you very much for listening so far. We're aware that there are some sound issues in Episode 1, and will be for the next few episodes. We record 4 episodes in a batch, and we were still learning the equipment when we last recorded, so the first few episodes coming through are going to have a couple of minor audio problems. We thank you for bearing with us on that and can assure you that we've learned from those mistakes, and episodes 5 onwards, hopefully they'll all be fine. That out the way, let's meet our heroes.
Hi, I'm Mikey. I'm playing Jiren. I'm a Chiss Mystic Advisor. My emotional strength is my enthusiasm, and my emotional weakness is my recklessness.
Jiren, why are you on the prison moon of Daxos?
Bad life decisions, I have to say. It is, not my bad life decisions, I have to admit. It is my treacherous crew and that treacherous Trandosian who betrayed me. Although, if you ask the gods, I am completely innocent. Nothing happened, and I'm just there on tourist visa to the banking clan's main vaults. It seems unlikely, I know, but you'd be surprised how many people believe me.
Hi, I'm Nim. I'm playing Larsa. She's a human sentinel artisan. One of her strengths is curiosity, but her weakness is it becomes obsession.
Now, Larsa, you're unique amongst our heroes in that you're on Daxos by choice. Why are you here?
There's worse places to be. I came here on a ship. I spent a lot of my time as a bit of a space brat. There's an awful lot of things need taking places, and people need to take them there, so been to a couple of planets. This one, I got a job for life. No one can make this place run like me, so I'm fairly content, to be fair.
My name is Ed Fortune, and I'm playing a character called Oberon Brick. He is a human, he is a seeker, and he is a hunter. His morality, he causes justice, and his moral weakness is penchant for cruelty.
And why is Oberon on Daxos?
He didn't pull the trigger. He didn't kill that person. It haunts him every day.
And finally,
I'm Ross. I'm playing Agatha, a Morailan warrior aggressor. My emotional strength is pride. My emotional weakness is anger.
And why is Agatha on Daxos?
Agatha did not let the Wookiee win. Agatha's quite proud of that.
We find our heroes at the house of Pyjak, a grizzled survivor who's been tutoring them in the ways of the Force. As they arrived there, they found the place deserted, some signs of a struggle, and the life support and environmental monitoring software remotely shut down. As a storm started brewing, our heroes locked themselves down to keep warm and safe, and started looking around to find out what could be seen. So you've had a search around the premises. As I say, there's no more information you're able to find. There's clearly been some form of a struggle here, but there's no blood, there's no real signs of searching or ransacking. It seems that whatever happened here must have been fairly quick and fairly targeted. And as Larsa found out last session, the shutdown protocols had been triggered remotely by someone slicing into the house's HoloNet presence.
Adam, how far away can you be to remotely shut down the house? Would it have to be somewhere quite close? Could it be off-world?
It would need to be somewhat reasonably close. Certainly not off-world, unless you're in a serious capital ship with really long-range sensors. It was, in fact, I'll give you this, Lasser, as a freebie because you rolled fairly well on your computer test last time. It was reasonably local. It was certainly on planet and probably within the local HoloNet, essentially. So each settlement has its own local HoloNet that then links out wider, like a local network, essentially. There's only one local network in this area, and it's the one that's run out of the prison camp, which is a couple of miles away from here, but not beyond the reach of a decent slicer, which is clearly who's been in here.
Because it's been sliced, we can assume that he didn't do it himself.
Yes, yeah, it certainly wasn't triggered. Well, it might have been triggered by him from the prison camp area or somewhere within the catchment of the local network, but it certainly wasn't done on site.
Okay.
If you were doing something like this from, say, a shuttle, which you've landed here recently, would that be on the local HoloNet while it was in the area?
It would be, yes. It's tapping into the local Wi-Fi.
I head into the meditation chamber.
Yeah.
I'm keeping an eye on everyone else to see if they're stopping me or if they know what I'm doing. Have we been through the meditation chamber when we were searching?
You had, and it was empty, essentially. The meditation chamber is a pretty sizable room. It's about 60 foot wide, about 40 foot high, but it's not even. This is a naturally occurring cave that's been repurposed, essentially. So the floor's been flattened a bit, certainly enough that you can walk around it without tripping over. The lighting in here is fairly low key, really. It's designed to, again, be bright enough to get into the middle of the meditation chamber and give you something to focus on without tripping over the rocks, but not enough to distract you. And it's a natural sound baffle in here as well. The sounds that are made inside the meditation chamber echo inside it, but very little comes in and comes out.
I go into the room, I find my usual spot.
Yep.
I perch, I sit down, and I begin to use it for its intended purpose.
Okay.
I've got my duffel bag, between my knees. I'm in a lotus position, and I have my eyes closed. I'm not really that into it, but I don't know what else to do.
Okay. The rest of you. So you've seen Oberon head into the meditation chamber with his kit bag. Lassa.
I reckon he might have a point. If Pyjack left, someone was trying to shut this whole area down. Maybe they were trying to stop his students, his friends, from accessing it, which means it's probably one of the places he might have left a message, something that maybe only we could find.
Potentially. My big concern is it looks quite clear that the Empire have taken Pyjack, and we are just sitting here in the cold. Well, slowly getting warmer, but...
Because I know Pyjack, and there's a fair chance that he knew before they got here that they were coming. He might have left of his own volition and still be leading them a chase. I mean, it don't look like they got much from out of here.
I'm reaching out with my feelings. Currently, my feelings are low-level irritation.
Is this place going to be independently powered, or is it going to be...
It is independently powered.
Right, so it's not shut down to draw power, to stop drawing power off prison networks, right?
Can I feel his irritation?
Bumpy. Possibly if you concentrate. Do you have force? You have sense, don't you? No, you've got manipulate.
I've got manipulate.
Not particularly. You're not getting any waves of annoyance off him, other than what his body language might have expressed as he walked down the meditation chamber.
While you were upstairs, Oberon had a bit of a moment where he said that there is a waves of feelings. I do not like it here. He does not like it here.
I shrug my shoulders and I go for a quick sit down and a quick
Okay.
Well, not so much but...
Okay, you make your way to the meditation chamber. You can see Oberon as described in his position. You do notice actually that where he sits is directly opposite where you normally sit when you come in here and meditate.
I take my normal position. Not to him. It probably doesn't see it.
I've gone from irritation to growing calm.
I think they're busy in there, and we should make sure guard the door, make sure nothing disturbs, in case anybody were to come by during this storm.
Well, they can't get in. We have maglocked the door upstairs. We will hear it if they break in. And what will we do if they do? Will we...
We'll hit them.
Well, you can hit them. I can throw bad language at them. That is about it.
Everyone contributes in their own way.
Jiren is pacing backwards and forwards. He is quite clearly not in the right mood to do many sort of meditation. He's quite agitated about being here. I do not know how meditation will help.
Okay, but so essentially you two are going to be keeping tabs on the rest of the complex, making something to eat and that sort of stuff, while Lassa and Oberon meditate on...
Jiren being a person who finds things for other people, even absent-mindedly, not in a way that he's ransacking Pyjack's place, but he's fully understanding that Pyjack isn't coming back here, so anything of interest he's picking up and just sticking in his pocket. And he's not being shy or secretive about it, he's taking a look at things and then just sticking it in his pocket.
Yeah, there's not an awful lot here that's particularly eye-catching. I mean, he has a number of books, none of which are on the prescribed list. He's got a data slate, but So he does have a data slate that is still there, which mostly looks like it's what he tracks his accounts on, really. That sort of thing, or at least that's what you can access on it.
Okay, we live on an ice world prison planet. Everything in here will be of value. So I am filling my boots. I am putting random items in that I'm sure I'll be able to sell at some point.
In the meditation chamber, so you two are kind of, you assume the position, you're clearing your mind.
I'm reaching out with my feelings.
The door to the meditation chamber slowly starts to close, and the room is sealed. Again, it's not a unusual thing. This is fairly normal. The lights in the room start to quiet and dim, but you're not worried by this. Strangely, you're not pensive, and soon enough, the room itself is absolutely pitch black. Apart from each other, you can still clearly see each other, but nothing else. It's like you're floating in a void. You can't even feel the stone underneath you. You can't feel the airflow from the air circulators in here. You can't hear the reassuring thrum of the generators. All is silence. All is darkness. In the space in between you, directly in the centre, the darkness starts to waver slightly, almost like a heat haze shimmer. You feel something. First comes the fear, slowly building, like water, like a tide coming in gradually. With that becomes a sensation of cold. You start to see each other kind of growing slightly shadowed and occluded. The heat haze starts to take on form, starts to take on shape, almost, resolving into the outline of person. You can't quite work out their species, you can't quite work out their gender. They're tall, they're fairly slender. They're wearing long, flowing black robes that seem to be blown in a breeze you can't feel. And their face is covered by a featureless, white mask of some form, barring 2 openings for the eye and a symbol on the forehead. Their left hand is lost to the flow of the robes they're wearing. Their right hand is clutching what appears, is holding loosely pointed downwards, a long shaft of black metal, maybe 4 foot long or so, which glows very, very faintly with a red iridescence. The figure slowly turns, looks at you each in turn, and you get a sense from it of satisfaction, almost confirmation, urgency and arrogance. The figure then disappears like smoke blown away, leaving you both with just the sensation that they are coming. Then you're back in the room.
Did you see that?
I reckon we ought to get out of here.
And go where?
I don't know. But not here. Something's coming. You got that right?
Yeah. Dark robes.
Aye.
Red lights.
Aye.
Me love it looking gentleman. Yeah.
Right.
Do either of you have law?
I took xenology instead. I thought it might be more useful.
No, I took education.
Education also works.
I have education.
If you want to make me a simple education test, that's 1 purple.
That's 5 successes, 1 advantage.
Wow.
I am knowledgeable.
You are. Okay. These are the bits that you can, now looking back at that slightly objectively. The symbol on the forehead of the mask is from an ancient language. It's the number 10. The method of dress and the sense of fear. It harkens you back to some of the older legends that you heard passed around on the ship, really, and from some of the books you managed to scavenge and from some of your teachings. You think it might be an inquisitor.
Alright, but those don't exist no more.
Nope, not as far as you're aware. It's a fairly old legend.
Any idea what that was?
If I didn't know any better, I'd say it was an Inquisitor, but they don't exist anymore. Like,
I go very pale. We should leave. If you don't mind, I'm just going to. I open my bag and I immediately start changing my clothes.
Whoa! I don't need to see that.
Sorry.
I don't need to see that. Right, I'm going to open the door and tell other people. Did you feel anything? Did you sense anything?
I found a pie.
I'm not going to fault it. Pie's good eating. I described to them what we saw.
Pale, you do not look well.
Something's coming. We've got to get out of here.
The storm will have hit by now, I think.
Is there any other way out of here? Has he got any underground tunnels or
Not
anything?
that he's ever spoken to you about.
Whilst they're doing that, I have costume changed.
Yep.
I'm now wearing, for your shorthand, the Star Wars equivalent of a fox hunter's uniform.
Okay.
It's combat armor.
Yes.
But it is red. I have the badge of the Cantobite Hunters Club on there, and there is another symbol that's been removed, which is probably an Imperial insignia, probably guessed, kind of obvious, and replaced with the Rebel insignia, because why wouldn't you? Black boots, and a hunting rifle.
I get the feeling that while you are meditating, something happened.
We need to leave.
And go where?
Not here.
But the storm. I said we needed to leave like 20 minutes ago.
Someone is coming.
Is my shack nearby?
It's probably an hour's move. It's certainly close to the prison camp.
The prison is the only place nearby. Wearing that might not go well for you.
I grab one of the survival capes.
Yeah.
And I'm putting that over myself.
Yeah, it's basically ice wolf fur, so it's white, it's that kind of time, it's quite warm, and it's reasonably good camouflage out there in the snow.
But it's also covering up what I'm wearing.
Yes.
It looks stylish, which is nice.
Yeah.
Are we going to the prison?
I think if we go to the prison, we will be caught and then killed.
That's why I'm suggesting not wearing that.
It's alright, you can come round to my place, and if anyone asks where you were, I'll let them know that you were somewhat stuck.
And escaping from the storm.
And I'll look after you.
I have a terrible feeling, and I'd rather be protected.
Alright, everybody grab as many of the furs as you can. Get me some of the snowshoes. This is going to be a nasty hour. Put your mittens on.
This is roughly equivalent to the gear we were wearing when we got here anyway.
Yeah.
Some of the extra stuff that we found would be good for layers.
I'm basically covering up entirely what I'm wearing with a cape, so, you know.
Yeah.
You have presumably the furs you right here in as well.
Yes. Okay. Is everybody ready? Shall we? It ain't getting any warmer outside.
So you make your way back up to... What are you doing with Pyjack's place? Are you going to re-trigger the shutdown? Are you going to leave it as is so you've got a bolt hole to come back to?
Would you be able to shut it down remotely like they did?
I think I might do. I could use my talent, Force talent. The character always counts as having the right tools for the job. So I could possibly cobble together a remote shutdown.
What I'm saying is, I would like to shut this place down, but only when we know we are somewhere else where we can be. If we shut it down now, and we get stuck, we cannot come back.
Certainly, your shack is within the local HoloNet. So now that you've seen how it was done, you've not managed to leave yourself a backdoor in because you didn't get any advantages, but you can probably remote hack back in yourself from your place.
Alright. I think I can do it from mine.
Well, let us do that then, and let us go quicker rather than...
I'm using the hand scanner I have, which is designed for, let's find out what the structure of the local ice is, because this is where the digging's going on, to work out whether we're already blockaded on the other side of the door.
Okay.
And whether it's a safe path to...
So you get up to basically to outside the front door and then start wibbly-weeing it.
Yeah.
Okay, Mikey, can you please shift a dark side point over to the light side for me? The storm has hit and has picked up. It's a medium intensity out there from the local kind of storm grading. Essentially, it is cold, but it is not life-threateningly cold, death from exposure levels yet. That might change, but at the moment it is not quite superstorm levels. What you do know, though, is the snow is now coming down hard enough that you're going to have maybe about 20 to 30 foot field of vision if you're lucky, and outside of that, you're going to be struggling. Now, you know how to get back to your place, Lasser. You know how to get there. It might be a little bit difficult leading these with you, but you're fairly confident you can make it back to your place without everyone dying from exposure, as long as they're prepared to stick close.
Right.
You are also aware, however, that at this point, the ice walls will be out.
Well, we've got a choice. We can do the lifeline, where we're all tied to each other, and that's good and safe in the event of a whiteout. It means that none of you will get lost. But it does mean that if someone should jump on us, we've got to deal with it quick, because if a pack of ice balls come, we might get tangled up and be no more than a ball of wool.
I think tying ourselves together would be better. We can always untie ourselves in a moment of urgency.
Right, sort out the lifeline then.
Yeah.
When we're all ready, can you open the door?
Yes. This is not dissimilar to what we do with the normally in when we're going out digging for ice, because we're all chained together anyway.
Agatha, you go first. Push your way through. If you go second, Lazar, and point us in the right direction, we will go and catch up the rear.
I'll cover the back.
Yes, with your firearm, which you seem to have now.
Yes. It's very nice firearm. It's quite obviously an Imperial weapon.
You need to go digging in the snow more often.
Agatha has taken out of a utility belt a pair of brass knuckles to wear, because in case of ice falls to fight. Yeah, want to be ready.
You're just going to punch it in the face.
Yeah.
Duran just beams. He has no weapons. He doesn't mind. It's all
See,
fine.
you will fear. Poof. I'll nut you. Poof. Sorry, Agatha, you're now Scottish.
Standard operating procedure. Becoming Scottish.
So,
I would like Agatha to please make me an athletics test to force the door open, because the snow and the ice have started to freeze around the door, and the life support system, the heating systems were down long enough that it managed to form a bit of a seal, and though it's starting to melt down, it's not yet quite enough. The difficulty is going to be 2 purple.
Okay, I'm prepared to do this, but I can also lend some enhanced force power to this.
Yep, that means you get to roll a white dice with it as well, and spend any pips that come from that on successes or advantages.
Okay. 1 failure, 2 threat, but a light side pip.
What you can do, I suppose, is cancel out that threat, so you've just flat out failed, not failed and jammed the door in the ice, or...
That sounds like a good plan. It's still movable, it's just going to take a little bit longer.
Yeah. Yes, essentially. So, yeah, you start yanking the door open, you cycle the maglocks off, you grip it, and you feel immediately that there is ice build-up that's holding it in place. And what you end up having to do to open it is you have to slam a shoulder in a few times to loosen it in its frame, and then start yanking, and it does take a while. And while you're doing that, the snow is whipping in at you. It's all in your face, it's very, very cold.
Seeing that Agatha is struggling, I go and get one of the metal poles that he uses to hang meat.
Yeah.
Unhook it, take it across, and then use it to
help
leverage
Jimmy.
Leverage the door.
Okay. With Oberon's help, you do manage to get the door open eventually, but it does take a good few minutes. And and all that time, you are exposed in there. It's very, very cold now.
We also need to shut this behind us.
Yeah.
So everybody out.
Okay.
So I make a similar test for closing this behind us as well.
Yes, but I'll give you 2 blue die, because you're being assisted ably by Oberon.
Same difficulty.
Yes.
I have a 1 success, 1 threat, and a light side.
I'd recommend spending that light side to cancel out the threat.
Yes. So that leaves 1 success.
So yes, you managed to get it shut a lot more smoothly this time round. And again, once it's closed, the maglocks cycle.
Agatha thanks Oberon for his assistance.
And you manage to avoid, you have worked up a bit of a sweat, but managed to get rid of that sweat before it freezes on your face, which is a bonus. You do know that out from the outside, there is essentially a pad that undoes the maglocks out here, but it's bio-coded to Pyjack. Normally, he lets you in. It's not locked. That said, Lasser, if you do well enough when you try and slice in from your shack, you might be able to put an override in that as well. So, but at the present, this place is now impregnable.
All right.
Okay, shall we go?
Let's go in. So I'm going to be directing you.
We're leading, therefore.
Yeah.
You start making your way through the storm.
But keep your eyes and ears open, everybody.
I am definitely doing that and looking for wolves. Or anything moving.
You've been travelling for about 15-20 minutes or so by this stage. Yes.
As I'm the chap at the back,
Yeah.
can I be covering our tracks? Or can I attempt to cover our tracks? The snow's going to do a lot of the job for me.
Yes, I'm not going to make you have to roll for that one because the snow is going to be doing a large portion of that. So, yeah, you're able to aid it along, really. I'm not going to make you need to
If
roll for that
someone
one.
drops something, I pick it up.
Yeah.
Basically, no clues are left behind.
Yeah. But yeah, after about 15-20 minutes or so, your hackles all start to rise up a little, and you get the feeling that prey animals get when they know that they're being hunted. The wind has picked up by this stage as well, and carried on the breeze, you can hear the howls of the ice wolves as they come down to start hunting. You
Right.
press on.
Start walking a little closer together.
Points forward. Everyone can see that, yes?
Oh yes. Oh yes. Jiren is very close to you now. I mean, just you can tell he's scared.
You're in the centre of this,
Yeah,
as if you
yeah.
were forming a triangle.
Yeah.
Tally forward.
One step after the other. That's all he can do.
You keep moving in. You now can almost see shapes moving, circling the group. Not close enough that you can get a good look. Not close enough that you can get a comfortable shot, really. And because of the colour of the fur, it's like seeing ghosts. It's really hard to pin down exactly where they are at any given point in time. You can hear faint snatches of snarling coming through the wind. Howls, louder now and closer.
Can I use my survival skills to try to make us look like an unappetizing or an unfair fight, so that they probably don't want to come near us?
You certainly can.
Alright.
It will be, it's difficulty... I think difficulty 2. You're going to get 2 black die for the weather, and because you are their natural prey really out here. And can you move me a dark side point over, please? As I'm going to upgrade one of those purple to a red. They are hungry, and game is scarce.
I'm trying to think what I could do to make that less difficult.
How far?
You could flip a light side point to upgrade your remaining green to a yellow, or one of your greens to a yellow.
How far away are they from us at this point? Within, say, the chain length we've got linked to each other, or further from us?
If Mim anchored the chain, essentially, and you were at the end, then you could reach. They're probably about 20 foot or so out there. They're just out of the line of comfortable sight, really. They are keeping just out of that distance.
They're looking for weakness.
They're looking for weakness, yeah.
When the first one comes, I intend to take it down as quick as we can, so they hopefully take it, not us.
I'm going to flip a light side point to turn that into another yellow.
Okay.
That's not so good. Leaves me with overall 1 threat.
It's safe to say that your cunning ruse hasn't worked. You try to make yourself look big and scare them away, but it's had the opposite effect, and they're moving in. What's more, you've left yourself slightly exposed, and that's initiative.
Oh.
I shout the word where to everyone, as in danger, and I'd like to use my force powers.
Okay. Yes, because your force powers add to your initiative, don't they?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, essentially, what I would like to do is Jiren would like to push his emotions, his fear down, and try and exude a aura of peace, tranquility, to make it look like we're not afraid, to make it look like we aren't the enemy, and so similar to what she was trying to do with the survival, but you start bringing out the big guns.
You can say the word, but better.
Is it a vigilance check because we're obviously surprised?
It will be a... I don't mind, actually. Strictly speaking, it should be cool, because you're aware they're out there, but by the same token, you don't know exactly where they're coming from. So I'm going to be generous and say that you can use either vigilance or cool. So, Jaren, you can do that on your initiative turn, I think, really, because it's too key.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so roll initiative for me, please. What did we get?
I've got 1 success and 3 advantage.
Okay, and Mikey?
So that is 2 successes, one of which is a triumph, and 1 advantage.
Very nice. Mim?
3 successes.
And Ed?
Including my force ability, I have 5 successes and an advantage.
Okay, so the order's going to be 3 PC slots, then the wolves, and then the last PC slot. So who wants to take the first PC slot?
Oberon would like to go first.
Mm-hmm. You were prepared, so that makes sense.
Yep.
Oberon shouts tally and hike, which is words that no one else understands, but he's too young to realise that no one cares, and unleashes his blaster at range.
Okay, do you want to take a manoeuvre to aim to give you a blue die?
Yes, please.
Okay, they're at short range, so it's 1 purple, but it's 2 black die to represent the driving snow and wind.
That's 5 plus 2 advantage.
5 successes.
Yeah.
Crikey. What's the base damage of your weapon?
9.
So that's 14 damage. And how many advantage? 2 advantage?
2 advantage.
Okay. So that's not enough to trigger a crit on that. 2 of the wolves that were coming around from the back of the group are taken out. What does that look like?
He takes out the one in front as the other wolf is coming towards it. It slides ungracefully, and like the cur that he is, Oberon takes the second shot.
And what would you like to spend your advantage on?
They have broken up the line, so the other animals, the other wolves, pause.
Okay, yep, that makes perfect sense. Next PC slot.
Can I go? Can Jiren go?
Yep.
Jiren is in the middle of the group. He turns towards what he thinks is the biggest group of wolves, sticks his hands out, and says, "Do not fear us, my wolven friends!" very loudly. It looks like he's become somewhat of a madman. But I'm going to try and use my force power to calm the attack and give them 4 for pause.
Okay.
So I'm using influence. And I'm just using the base influence, so I'm just rolling this at the moment to see if I can do anything. And that is 2 light side. So I'm going to give them generate feelings of peace and friendliness to 2 of the wolves that I can see using one of the dice from my magnitude.
They do seem a little more hesitant, and their hackle starts to drop a little bit from the 2 that you can see, especially given that 2 more have just been gunned down on the other side of the group. Next PC slot.
I'm going to move towards them and then brawl.
Okay.
So this is possibly going to extend the chain to its limit.
Yeah, it stretches you out a little bit.
But if I can brawl, it's 2 black?
It's 2 black for the weather. It's 2 purple for brawl.
Okay. I'm being particularly fearsome when I do this.
Yes, which means I needed to make, as you engage with them, a fear test.
Peace.
I am screaming.
Which they fail. Okay, so you're going to get a blue die to this.
2 successes.
And what's your base damage for your shock gauntlets?
Base damage is 3.
So that's 5 then.
That's 5. Oh, cool.
You move over to one of the wolves that Jiren has calmed and essentially sucker punch it, knocking it back a little bit, and there's a...
Pay no attention to the man fighting you. We are really quite friendly.
Except for the one who's slightly fearsome. Failed. Just, quite gotten to whimper a little bit as it got punched.
Yes.
It is the wolves' turn. And essentially, having seen 2 of their number immediately gunned down, then having themselves kind of almost forcibly calmed, followed up by a sucker punch, they have realised that at the moment they may have bitten off more than they can chew, and the remaining 2 that you can see turn tail and flee into the snow.
Good. They will be back. We should keep going, quickly.
Yep. Trudging on.
You continue pressing forward into the snow. Can you spend me another dark side point as the winds start to pick up even more? The snow starts coming down even thicker, occluding your sight, and the temperature drops below freezing. Darkness falls. You can only see a few feet in front of your face. And that's where I'm going to call it for today. Caught outside in a deadly storm, 1 attack by wolves fended off, but more out there on the prowl. Will they survive to make it to Lars's hut, or will they become another victim of the dreaded storms on Daxos? Will they ever find out what's happened to Pyjack? Is this where our story ends already? Tune in next time to find out. Force Majeure is played using the Star Wars Force and Destiny game system by Fantasy Flight Games and Lucas Books. Our intro music is Actionable by Ben Sounds. Our outro music is Suburban Outlaw by Forget the Whale, and some of the ambient sounds and sound effects within the show have been provided by Purple Planet. These are all used with gratitude under the Creative Commons license. Some more of our ambient sounds and sound effects are provided by Sirenscape, because epic games deserve epic sounds. For more information and links, please see the credits page on our website. We can be found online at forcemajeurepod.com, on Twitter and Instagram at forcemajeurepod, or on Gmail at forcemajeurepod@gmail.com. Please feel free to drop us a line, let us know what you think of the show. And if you want to leave us a review wherever you found our podcast, that'd be cool of you. Thank you very much, and see you next time.